A Christmas Eve gone wrong. Christmas Eve has always been my favorite night of the year. The quiet magic in the air, the soft glow of the tree lights dancing across the living room, and the faint scent of cinnamon from the candles. It all felt perfect. That year was no different. Or so I thought. I had just finished wrapping the last present, admiring how neatly the bow sat on top. The clock on the wall chimed midnight, and I stretched, ready to head upstairs. As I turned off the lights, the sound of footsteps creaked above me. My heart skipped. I live alone. I froze, staring up at the ceiling, half expecting to see some shadow materialize through the plaster. "It's probably the house settling," I whispered to myself, but the words felt hollow. The steps continued, slow and deliberate, moving from one end of the upstairs hallway to the other. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but I was rooted to the spot. I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a fire poker by the fireplace, and crept towards the staircase. "Hello?" My voice came out shaky, barely above a whisper. "Who's there?" No answer. I took one step, then another, my bare feet silent on the carpeted stairs. The closer I got to the top, the heavier the air felt, like I was pushing through an invisible fog. The hallway was dark, except for a faint red glow seeping out from under my bedroom door. That's when I noticed something chilling. The air smelled of burnt sugar, sickly sweet and acrid. I clenched the fire poker tighter and pushed the door open. Inside, the room was freezing, my breath puffing out in misty clouds. The red glow came from the string of Christmas lights on my dresser, but they flickered erratically, casting grotesque shadows across the walls. And then I saw it. The figure stood by the window, its back to me. Tall and impossibly thin, it wore a tattered Santa suit, the fabric stained dark and reeking of rot. Its long, bony hands rested on the glass, claws tapping out a slow, rhythmic pattern. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. It turned its head slightly, just enough for me to catch a glimpse of its face. Or rather, the lack of one. Its skin was pale and waxy, stretched tightly over where eyes, a nose, and a mouth should have been. But I could feel its gaze, cold and piercing, as if it were boring straight into my soul. The thing raised one clawed hand and pointed to the bed. My gaze followed, and my stomach dropped. Lying there was a small wrapped gift, one that hadn't been there earlier. I didn't dare touch it. The figure tilted its head as if waiting. When I didn't move, it let out a guttural growl that shook the room, the sound vibrating in my chest. Terrified, I inched toward the bed and picked up the gift. The moment it was in my hands, the figure vanished, the red glow extinguished. I fled the house that night and never returned. As for the gift, I never opened it. It sits in a box, locked away in a storage unit miles from here. But every Christmas Eve, without fail, I wake to the faint sound of claws tapping on glass.